Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Lockdown Tapes. I'm Dave Clark. He's Matt Newman, and very pleased to say we're joined by promoter Kevin Boothby. Now, the last Greyhound meeting was staged at Towcester on August the 12th, 2018. The doors have been shut since then, but our guest today is a man who has burst those doors back open. Mr. Boothby, how are you?
Very good, Dave. Very good.
And it looks rather pleasant where you are, Kev.
It's beautiful. Yeah, I'm sat on the balcony at Towcester, and it's a lovely sunny day, and it's everything's looking good.
Oh, I'm sure you've got a brilliant view of the track.
I'm definitely social distancing here. I'm in the building on my own, so yeah.
All right, we'll try and get you to give us a little sneak peek of your view a little bit later on. Matt, I mean, one of, if not the only, good news story surrounding Greyhound racing in recent times, the reopening of Towcester.
Yeah, it's something for us all to look forward to. I mean, it's very much a marquee track when it was last open, and hopefully now that we're under new management, the ideas are going to flow, racing is going to be back, and it's going to be a superb venue for all of us.
Okay, right, Kev, coronavirus chat. Let's sort of get that out of the way. Obviously, a global pandemic. How has that impacted your plans at Towcester?
Obviously, it's impacted massively as regards to like the event side of things, and obviously the ground race. And obviously, we were looking at holding like quite a few big concerts this year. That's all on the back burner now. Same with the racing. I think when we've been opening this next weekend, it'd have been impacted. You're looking 3,000-4,000 people. But we've got to move with the times, and now it's about getting the right deals out there, for obviously Towcester and everything to make things viable. But the pleasing thing is there's other stuff we're going to be doing behind the scenes, and in June we're going to do a drive-through cinema, which I think is very popular. July/August we'll have a drive-through theatre as well, which has never been done in this country. So hopefully some sort of musical from the West End here. So there's other opportunities out there. Obviously it's not ideal that we can't get the place packed, because like I say, the things we've done to the track, and obviously going forward with the racing, it'd be great to get big crowds here. But that'll happen. Hopefully one day that'll happen.
Now, I'm sure you've been feeling the effects at Towcester, not just at Towcester, because of course you're a promoter at another Greyhound track, Henlow. Obviously, it's put the brakes on everything. Trialling back today, though, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we started trials today. We're doing trials this morning, and then again later on. So we're doing 2 sessions a day. But again, we've supplied all the trainers with a mask, face shields, gloves. And they've done a great job there today. Social distancing. We've got compliance officers in place, social distancing officers in place. And it's gone, it's very smoothly. So it's pleasing. And again, it's been, you think the amount of dogs we've got, Dave, it's important that we can get back racing, and we can get back racing safely. It's not a problem for us to race behind closed doors. And
that was kind of going to be my next question, Kev, is what kind of support have you provided to your trainers during this time?
Any support. I mean, obviously
revenue is not really there, is it?
No, well, it's been, look, from a financial point of view, it's been very damaging for the business over the last 8 weeks. But the main thing is we're coming out the other side now. We're still smiling. We've tried helping the trainers best we can. We've been paying them £5 a week for the dog they've got. Bearing in mind we've got 1,040 dogs at Henlow. And we've got another 2 weeks paying that with trials. So you're looking at 50-odd grand there, just in trainers' payments. But the pleasing thing is now there's light end of the tunnel. We started trialling, and hopefully we'll get scheduled sometime this week to start racing back first week in June.
Okay,
we're doing a lot of work to the track as well. We've been putting new hair rail in, and we've been putting new astroturf around Henlow, and we've got to do some astroturf in that Towcester this week as well. So, so it's all, look, end of the day, we can make something positive out of all this and come back through it and do things good.
That's Henlow trialling today. When can we expect to see trials at Towcester? Because obviously last week, the rubber stamp signed off by the GBGB, everything, you're good to go, licence granted. What's your timeline at Towcester?
I'll definitely will be trialling next Monday, but we might even be putting a session on this Friday yet. But definitely next Monday will be good to go to trial at Towcester. I mean, one thing we want to do, I don't know if you can see the track. Can you see the track there, Dave?
Yeah.
On the inside there, the old track, we need to astroturf all that. So that's one thing we'll be looking at doing this week. So we've got a lot of astroturf coming to do the inside with the other. But you can see how much narrower we've made it. Maybe you can see it very good. But that'll be like, it'll look absolutely pucker once we've done that. I mean, to be fair, the track's in magnificent condition. It's a bit of when we narrowed it, I was a bit like, have I done the right thing? But it's
Yeah.
worked perfectly, and it's such a good track now.
Okay, well, we'll talk a little bit more about the amendments to the track a bit later on. Before we get into everything that's going on, I want to kind of introduce you to people that don't know who you are. What's your story in ground racing? I've already mentioned that you already run Henlow. Tell us a little bit about your sort of journey through greyhound racing so far.
Oh, God. I suppose I first owned my own dog about 30 years ago at Nottingham with Emil Kovacs. I had a share in the dog. Then I got out the dog because I was just a working man, not earning a lot of money. And then about 10 years after that, I bought a dog with, I think, Barry Draper, with some of the lads I work with. Then I ended up having dogs with Lorraine King, who's now the assistant race manager at Henlow. And that's what took me on to getting Henlow, and that's 15 years ago. So I've always enjoyed owning dogs, and even though it's still a passion of mine owning dogs, and I'm running in good races.
And now, well, you're steering the ship at Henlow, and it has to be said it is a success story, Kev, because you went from a track with sort of provincial status to on Racing Post Grey on TV, and then to providing, a backbone to the SIS schedule.
I mean, the thing with Henlow, I've had Henlow 15 years now. 13 years, it was like a nightmare running that sort of place. The amount of money I kept ploughing in it, keep it going. But no, again, with that, the last 2 years have been great for us. It's given us the money we can invest in nice kennel facilities for people. We've got a great rehoming system in place. But we've only done that because we've got a contract with SIS. And you think we run 7 meetings a week, sometimes we do 8 meetings in a week. It's staggering that 2 years ago, we had 120 dogs in the strength. And the other staggering thing is obviously going back 5-6 years ago, when we did have a good strength of dogs at Henlow, Towcester opens and nick all the dogs. So it's a bit calmer that, like now, we've got plenty of dogs, which is, very good for both businesses.
Now, it's a little bit cliche, but it is fitting for you, Kevin, because you are a dog man at heart. I know welfare is huge for you. Do you think that is an advantage or a disadvantage, being the position that you're in?
I think it's a massive advantage. I mean, I rehome all my dogs. Every greyhound can be rehomed. I know all this, sometimes people say, 88% of the dogs get rehomed or 90%. That's rubbish. Every single greyhound can find a home. And I rehome all mine, and I'm probably the biggest owner in the sport. So, and it makes you more focused on the welfare side of things, especially now you're running like 2 tracks. And these rehoming people do a marvellous job, and they have volunteers and stuff. So it's good that, again, with like Towcester, when we do open, we'll be doing a lot of fundraising for the rehoming centres. And it's so important that it's not just looking after the dog doing its racing career, it's looking after the dog when it finishes racing. And that's so important that we do that. And that's why, for me, I'm in a fortunate position. I'm a big believer in that, and I'm lucky that I can control that.
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. Now, it's not the irony is not lost on me, Kev, that when Towcester reopened, it kind of put you under pressure a little bit at Henlow with your strength of dog, didn't it?
Oh, it put us massively under pressure. I mean, back in the day on a Saturday, we could get like 800 people, 1,000 people at Henlow, and all of a sudden we was having 6 3 4-dog races. And financially, that was just killing us. And I suppose the thing that always sticks in my mind, when Towcester opened, all the texts to my trainers and nicking all my trainers, it wasn't good. But like, let's say, 6 years later, a bit of karma now, and now we've got Towcester, and we'll make sure we do the right thing by Towcester, I suppose.
Well, let's hope so. And Matt, as we mentioned, not the first project of greyhound racing at Towcester.
No, absolutely not. The original Towcester project was, almost a revolutionary vision, but it sadly fell short and financially was a disaster. I mean, let's go back to the beginning, Kevin. I mean, when did Towcester pop up on your radar as an opportunity to purchase?
I suppose it was it must have been August last year. And a lot of people often said to me, well, why don't you take over at Towcester? And I said, no, I'm all at Henlow. Obviously, we've got a busy schedule at Henlow. And then one day, Freddie Hesketh rang me up, and he come to Henlow, met up with me, with a conversation about it. And I said to him, come have a look. And I suppose it hit me when I drove through the gates and what sort of place it was like. And obviously, you drive straight past the greyhound track, which was magnificent. And then you see all the other facilities there. And me being me, just thought, I want a piece of this. And that's what I did. And it's exciting that, there's so many different various events we can do here. And like I say, we have planned to get horse racing back, point to points, which again, I think would be a great spectacle here. And the greyhound racing, one thing for sure, it's definitely the premier track in the country. In my opinion, no two ways about it. And it needs to be run properly. We need to get the top class action racing on, and that's what we'll do. And I'm not even phased by that, because I love the open race part of our sport, and it's important that we protect the open racing. If we don't have the open racing, this sport will struggle. So it's always important that, yes, we have a graded races, but we need that open racing, which is so imperative.
Yeah, it's something that's very much a discussion in recent weeks, that graded racing feeds off open racing. You know, we don't breed dogs and own dogs in this sport to try and breed a litter of A8 Crayford dogs.
Yeah,
You know, that's how the majority of them turn out. But we're all looking for a Derby winner. We're all looking for these big open.
Of course, and as an owner, it's no better than buying a dog, getting it through the grades, and then hopefully going into open racing. Yeah, especially these young pups you buy. I love that sort of. I've had plenty of dogs started 8-10 at Henlow and gone on to win opens, and we can't lose that. And obviously, we need people to breed, and it's that and the other. So it's important that we keep that aspect of the sport.
Yeah, and I think everyone wants success and longevity for Towcester. Now, it's October last year. I believe it was a 10-year deal that was signed. Is that what we're planning for? Is there an opportunity that it will go on longer? I mean, how are you planning for longevity then?
What, Towcester? Well, because we're fortunate that obviously we're going to be doing like cinemas and drive-through theatres and this and that. So as a business, there's other aspects of Towcester, whereas before I think they just explored sort of just the greyhound race and that was it. Fortunately for me, I mean, obviously we just got into the PPE stuff now, and now we're starting filling bottles of gel and we're doing tubes with moisturiser in it. Towcester's a great brand, whatever you do, and the lucky thing here is it's not just about the greyhound racing, and hopefully the other aspects of the business will support the greyhound racing, and it's vice versa. So we're fortunate here that we're going to be doing sort of 3 or 4 different sorts of businesses here. Longevity wise, I don't have a problem with that. I think we'll be fine here because of what we're doing behind the scenes and with other stuff. But I think it's making it the premier track, but making it we've got the top races here, and that's so important. And that's one thing I'm confident I can get here. And obviously, Derby wise, it's a no-brainer for me. You know, it's a tremendous track, and now we've reshaped it, and that it is a proper 500-metre Derby distance.
You opened your doors in November with a Winter Wonderland type event. You've got 320 acres of land there. How else are you going to use the land and the lakes? Do they come into your consideration of what you can do?
Obviously, when we do the theatre, we're talking with people now who want to do a drive-through theatre. We're going to actually do the theatre by the lake. So then there's 2 ways of doing it. One, we can do just drive-through and we can do parking bays. But obviously, if it's nice weather, we'll do bays and people can have a picnic while they're watching the theatre and that. So that's one thing we're looking at doing now. And like I say, that'll be happening probably July / August. So, and we're fortunate again that we've got all this land. And the good thing is, having all this land, there's opportunity there for social distancing and doing big events here. Even if it means people sitting in the car watching a movie, it's, you know, it can still work for us.
And you've got a new innovative sales and events team in place there with, like I said, your concerts, your theatre, your glamping pods, you know, to make it more than just a racecourse and a greyhound track. But these sort of non-greyhound people, do they have any ideas of how to expand on greyhound racing, how to bring that back to its peak again?
I suppose the thing with them, obviously they understand greyhound racing a bit more than that, 'cause always going on about it. But the good thing is they look at things differently, and I've told them how we've done things before in the sport. And you know, as a promoter, I've done crazy deals because other tracks started doing. I mean, one of the worst deals I've ever seen was a penny meal deal, because you undersell what we do as an industry so much. It's difficult then to charge decent money. So obviously, my team, they've been looking at different sorts of entertainment when we go back racing, whether it's music acts or comedians or whatever. But it needs a bit of a razzmatazz, and that's one thing. When we do get open here, you'll see it, Towcester, especially on Saturday nights. It needs to be something with a difference. So I'm looking forward to when we do get back and we can have people on site who are certainly putting a show on. Definitely.
Lovely. You mentioned point to point earlier. Of course, Towcester was a horse racing track fundamentally, but now the stables have been converted into kennels. You've got a couple of trainers on site, about 150 dogs, I believe it is, between them. You know, is point to point going to be the only racing? Is racing under rules gone forever?
Look, I think the thing with point to points, obviously they can just turn up in the horse box and race at the horse box, basically. If there was an opportunity to get back on the BHA, yeah, we'd definitely have to look at it, and it'd be lovely to see, national and flat racing back here. And if it meant building some more kennels on site and taking back the stables for the horses, then that's what we'd do. It's a fantastic race course, and the horse track's in top condition even now. So it'd be great to get horse racing back. But I think that's more of a thing for a year, 18 months time. But never say never, definitely.
Sure. And I mean, your executive suite, your hospitality areas, they're superb. We saw that with the Derby a couple of years back. Now, is that something you're trying to really push as well and make it, a special night with terms of hospitality?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, when we announced we were going to open on the 23rd of May, I think all the boxes were sold out within a week. That was the first thing what people wanted, the boxes. So obviously it's a big asset for us to have these lovely boxes, great viewing up the balcony. So yeah, we'll utilise it.
Phenomenal. Dave, there's a very important question though, isn't there, to ask, the $1 million question, if you will.
Yeah, I suppose you kind of touched on it already, Kev, but I know there's not going to be a sole reliance on greyhound racing at Towcester to provide you with the revenue to keep the show on the road. But how, from you've got a fresh set of eyes on the projects up there, how can it be self-sufficient at Towcester, or do you see perhaps the scenario where you're starting up in your other functions that you've got going on in events are in some ways, propping up greyhound racing to start with?
Yeah, but I mean, Dave, bear in mind, I've been here 6 months. I spent a hell of a lot of money on the track, and we've had no income. Luckily, we've been in the luxury that we can afford to do that. Now we're coming out the other side. I think the ground racing will look after itself. I mean, what schedule I've got yet with SIS, I'm not sure. Hopefully we'll know this week. But as for the other parts of the business here, it'd be great if they're a success and it can enable us to pay more prize money and do more things with ground racing. And that's why I'm very excited about the whole project there. We've got so many aspects of the business, it can make us strong in the ground racing. And we need to promote our sport better. We need the sport to get out there. I mean, it's so pleasing last week to see Rochester in the Daily Mirror. I mean, it doesn't happen in our world, does it? Our industry. We don't get in the national papers. And it's so important that we get it mainstream if we can and make a big difference for the sport.
Now, you just mentioned SIS. That was going to be my next question. Obviously, you have a good relationship with SIS. 7 meetings a week at Henlow on the service. So you're all signed up to SIS then? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, Gordon and Richard are the good friends, but they know the game, and they're so pleasing to work for a company like SIS because everything's organised, and as an organisation, they do a great job. So it's no brainer for me to sign up Towcester with them because I trust them. They know what they're doing, and it makes sense. And they're keen as well to showcase Towcester. Do you know what I mean? So it'd be interesting to see what's going forward. What happens with Towcester?
So as a promoter, Kevin, you've signed up to SIS. How do you value your product then that you're producing? Because before we saw the organisation there produce Towcester TV and kind of their own products to sell themselves. But from what you're saying there, that's not something you're looking to do.
No, not at the moment. Obviously, we've got Towcester TV. Ultimately, one day we will get Towcester TV up and working. But at the moment, we need a media contract, and we got one with SIS. So as we go guys to the broadcast of it, hopefully we can get something decent on a Saturday night. What happens going forward, I don't know. But hopefully we can get some sort of decent coverage on a Saturday night and showcase it. The one thing for sure, we'll definitely have some top-notch dogs running around here. And it'd be exciting to hopefully see Towcester on a Saturday night, whether it's on Sky or some sort of TV coverage. I think it's so important for the sport we do that. But we've got a great chance that we've got a track like this, we can showcase it. And
that's you're aiming high. You're aiming for TV coverage, mainstream TV coverage.
Oh, we have to. If you don't aim high, Dave, then you're just wasting your time, aren't you? We need to try to make a difference. We need to get ground racing into the public eye. And the pleasing thing for me is having this sort of track is easy to do that if we get in the right places. So it's about pushing it, and hopefully one day we'll get on some sort of good coverage.
Absolutely. Now, it's been quite a family affair, Kev, I know, up at Towcester, because you mentioned all the different work that you've done to the track, but it's not you personally who's been carrying out that work. It's your brother, Dave.
Yeah, Dave's done a great job, and all the lads, Giles, Polly's husband, Polly the vet, her husband, Giles digger driver, he's done an amazing job, and Dave, and, you know, we took all the sand off, put all the sand back down, we've done drainage, done a lot of work to the track for a hell of a lot of money, but it's pucker. I mean, that track is absolutely top class now, to be fair. And we didn't scrimp or nothing, and we've done it the right way. And it's, as trainers will see when they start racing the dogs here, it is definitely top class, definitely.
Now, do try not to drop your iPad off the balcony, Kev, but is there any chance we can have a little peek at the shape of the track from where you are, the kind of view you've got? Maybe explain to us some of the changes that have gone in.
Can you see the first bend there? First two bends?
Yep. Down a bit. That's it.
Right. You can see how much we narrowed the track. You can see before, look, from where the grass is, it was like, 9 metres wide there. Now it's 4.5 metres wide.
Wow.
So, and what we've done what we did from day one, took all the sand off, all the old existing sand came off. Down the back straight, we had to put new drainage in because apparently it used to be, the water wouldn't get away. So we put all new drainage in down the back straight. And the rest of it, we just put all new sand down, and in places on the inside of the track, we've completely put new drainage in, so it all soaks away nicely and runs back into the lake. But yeah, I mean, that's took us 3 months today to get all that done. There's a lot of work gone into that, but that looks absolutely pucker now. And we've had about 600 dogs go around, you know, Hansford trying to run the track, and they love it. Even the young pups, we've got some young pups go around here. Not a problem.
I've got the sky at the minute, Kev. Can we go down a little bit?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Brilliant.
So it's been exciting. It's been nice to see dogs run around here. And obviously, before I got my licence, we've been dealing with the local council who give us permission to do the trials. And bear in mind, we've got 150 dogs living on site. So these greyhounds, they love to have a bit of a run. So we did it to keep them calm in the kennel. Obviously, we've got residents the other side of the road. So, but the track now is, I mean, that looks pucker, Dave, doesn't it? I mean, I'm being funny. That is the reason these days out there.
Yeah,
And
certainly the straights certainly look a lot longer, Kev. What kind of, have you added distance to the track from what you've done?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's 500 metres. Down the back straight, I reckon, before we gain another 30 metres in straight there, it's going to be a tough old 500. There's going to be a lot of dogs here getting picked up. And the 700 distance for 6 bends, that's going to be some distance. But again, it makes it exciting racing, Dave. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, we've got 2 bends, 4 bends, 6 bends. Ultimately, I probably will get another set of traps and put them near that bend, so we get a bit of a shorter distance, maybe a 630, 640. Yeah, that will be best in the 710, to be fair. But the pleasing thing is, honestly, it is a great running track now. And dogs coming off that second bend, they go straight into the straight, and they can take off down the back. And there's no better than watching the dog, you know, a classy dog flying down the back straight. So I'm looking forward. To us getting racing and showing people what we've done here.
Brilliant. Right, I'm worried. So just put the device down now, whatever it was. And
I know.
Kev, you're a brilliant promoter, but please don't have a go at being cameraman when the action's on as well. Because we was all over the shop there.
I'm not into technology, Dave. I'll leave that to you.
What distances are we talking then? Sprint, 4 bend and stayers? What
and obviously we'll have a marathon. We'll be a marathon trip as well. But I think we will have a shorter 6 bend distance as well. It'd be about 630, 640. Because I think it's 710. That is a tough old trip.
Is that what the 6 bend trip is at the moment? Yeah.
And bear in mind, it is a good old gallop now. Because you got 2 good straights. So it will make sense to bring in a 630, 640 distance. But saying that, there's plenty of good 6 bend dogs out there who will stay a good 710 trip. So I'm looking forward to it. And even the marathon, I think the marathon is 900 and something. That is going to be some hell of a distance, that is. And the pleasing thing is, I can't wait to get the marathons on here. So I've got a couple of bits myself who can go in the marathons, and it'll be exciting racing.
And what about the sprint and standard? Have you got exact trips for them, distances?
Standard's 500, and the sprint, I think it's only about 270. I think the sprint is something like that. 270.
We won't hold you to that, but just to give us a I know it's 500.
Feel. Yeah, but it's and again, it's a great little sprint trip. Nice run to the bend. So yeah, I think we've only ever clocked one trial here. 30.06. So you're looking at good dogs will be breaking 29, no problem. Breaking 30. So I would say you're looking at 29.50 probably ultimately, but yeah. So
because there obviously will be people out there who will want to buy a dog for Towcester, so they're going to need to know that if you want a 4-bend dog, you're probably going to have to stay.
You got to stay, yeah, definitely. There's been no hiding place around here. Coming off that last bend, that's going to seem a long way home for a lot of these dogs. So you definitely need a strong stayer. And like myself, 4 or 5 months ago, I bought some new dogs with good stamina, and then we get the lockdown. So, and the pleasing thing is, Dave, there's a lot of new owners getting back into the sport, buying dogs for Towcester.
Brilliant.
And I know Mark Wallace, he's had a few conversations with Mark, and Mark often said to me that he's got owners coming back into the sport, buying dogs for Towcester. So it's pleasing that we're doing that. But it's important we do that as well. Do you know what I mean? So it's good that we can get, and even people around the Towcester area. I think Frank Gray, took on 4 new dogs for people living in Towcester, never owned a dog before. So it's good that we're doing that as well, introducing new people into the sport.
Perfect. In terms of personnel in the racing office, who's going to be sort of running the show? The racing manager, we got all that in place?
Yeah, we've got 2 racing managers, James Shortley and Andy Lismore. Then we've got Hayley, who's going to be assistant. So, yeah, we're all organised. We've got all the staff. Jake, who drives the hare. Keith, his dad, does a lot of the track work, and he maintains the horse track and everything. So, Polly's going to be the vet. She's got somebody else as well who can work here as well. So, we're all organised. We've got all the staff in place. Everything's in place, though. We're just ready to go. Okay,
let's talk trainers as well, because I know you've got a lot of dogs at Henlow already. Are all trainers going to be dual attached or only some?
I don't know. I think we've got to speak to the GBGB. I mean, obviously, trainers like Frank and Tony who are on site here, they're going to be running at Henlow. Obviously, they're based here. And it'd be like same for like Jason Bloomfield, who's at Henlow. He'll be running some dogs here at Towcester. That's why what we did, we thought we'd just have so many trainers here and do the A1 to the A5. It's easier to manage that way than, I mean, for example, if we only got 2 meetings, to do an A1 to an A10 sort of range would be impossible, really. You'd have to have so many, loads of dogs here just to do the A1, A10. So that's why we've got A1 and A5. And fortunately, there's some of the trainers joining us. They've only got them sort of dogs anyway, like Hayley Keithley, Ernie Gaskin, Kevin Boone, people like that. So it'd be exciting because we'll have some tremendous racing here, we've got some of the best dogs.
So there are 3 trainers that you've mentioned there. Mark Wallace as well.
Yeah, Matt, obviously Matt.
Who else?
I think
Frank and Tony on site, obviously, yeah.
Frank and Tony on site. I'm trying to think who else we got. Obviously, Matt Dartle's going to come here and race some dogs. Richard Devonish, who was at Peterborough, he's coming here. So there's plenty of trainers waiting to come here, Dave. But until I know what schedule we got, I can't commit to too many. I mean, already we've got too many trainers, and if we only got to say 2 meetings, for example, we've got plenty to know. In an ideal world, we'll end up with 3 or 4 meetings because we can quite easily fill them sort of races. So it's about being careful at the moment. And we've got a lot of trainers we have to ring back and let them know if they can join us or not. But it's nice to have a waiting list, to be fair. It's nice to have that luxury.
Obviously, the concern will be dogs getting in runs, but from you saying that you're already eyeing up going from 2 to 3 to 4, that's something that you're conscious of already.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think the good thing for me, Dave, because I own so many dogs and I deal with so many trainers, and that it's important that we have the right features for both race courses, to be fair. And if we start back in June, which I'm sure we will start back in June, I think as time goes on, things will change as regards to more fixtures and this, that, and the other. But we just like the main important thing now is to start back racing in June, get some money back in people's pockets, the trainers, the staff, and everybody else, and move forward. And as hopefully with no second spot, and hopefully we can move forward in a big way then.
Well, we can move seamlessly on to my next question then. Prize money, what kind of level are we talking about at Towcester, or is that going to hinge on deals that still need to be done?
Towcester will be based on Henlow, to be fair.
Right.
It'll be the same. So what the prize money is at Henlow, it'll be exactly the same at Towcester. And obviously with Towcester, I mean, because we're getting some, we're fortunate we're getting some great trainers here. He's got obviously the top open class dogs. We can do invitation races, so it'd be nice putting a bit of money with that. So that's pleasing, to be fair. But no, we'll look after everybody the same. We treat everybody the same, which is the important thing.
Well, given the calibre of trainer that you're taking on, I'm assuming that once it's safe to do so and the GBGB give the green light, you'll be chomping at the bit to stage open racing.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's so important. obviously we had a lot of plans for, and I've still got plans for Night of the Stars this year. I'm very keen to get that on in October, and that will happen. I'm very confident with that. And that'd be a great spectacle to get 10 or 12 races worth 10 grand a race. And that'd be something amazing. I'm not saying I'm a big supporter of open racing, so we're definitely open racing in Towcester. No two ways about it.
Okay, and what about the betting ring there? Have you got bookmakers already lined up to stand at Towcester?
I never knew there's so many bookmakers out there who wanted to do having a picture at a ground course. It is staggering. And I think when the news was announced on Friday, I think I had about 10 bookmakers texting me. How to get my number, I should never know. But yeah, we've got plenty of bookmakers to come here. I think I could put 30 bookmakers here, to be fair.
Wow.
So, but no, we'll have 3 or 4 bookmakers on course, obviously.
Excellent. Right now, it's something you mentioned a little bit earlier on, and a lot of people will be watching this and it be in the forefront of their thoughts. But obviously, the Ground Derby has a home at the moment at Nottingham, and personally, I think they've been doing a brilliant job there. No Derby so far this year for obvious reasons. If the Derby ever became available, I'm assuming that you would be straight onto it, Kev. Am I right?
Of course, yeah. If it's a no-brainer, Dave. Look, I want to get the Derby here because I think we can do a great job with the Derby. Yeah, Nottingham's done a fantastic, job staging it for the last couple of years. But for me, this is the home of the Derby. And if it's available, I'll snap it up. No problem.
Excellent. Well, we'll watch that space. Matt, we've seen, although through some dodgy camera work, the viewing at Towcester has always been a contentious issue.
Yeah, I think it's one of the complaints that some people had with Towcester being a horse racing track first and foremost originally. The grandstand's a fair way away from the track. Are there any plans to change that to be able to bring people closer to the dogs?
I think obviously if you've got a nice summer, we can get people out onto the race course. That's not a problem. But obviously certain times of year, wet and windy or cold, it wouldn't be worth doing that. But certainly in the summer, we was thinking of taking a while down and letting people get a bit nearer the action. So yeah, it wouldn't be a problem. But as long as the weather conditions good. But to be fair, when you're up here, it's a great view. And bear in mind, there's a big screen here as well. So a lot of times, I used to always read the comments about bad viewing, this, that, and the other. But hang on a minute, there's a big screen in front of you. So, but obviously, we will put people close to the action. That's not a problem. We try to tick all the boxes, Matt. That's all we do.
It's one of those things. You can't keep everyone happy all the time, but as long as you're working on it and innovations as well, trying to push the sport, drag it into the 21st century. Are there any different? You've mentioned a Night of Stars type evening, which would be phenomenal, always very, very popular in Ireland. Have you got any other thoughts of how to bring a different audience into greyhound racing?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm in the events team. I took on some cracking staff, to be fair. One of the girls who works for me, she does like corporate hospitality, this, that, and the other, and sponsorship. So we was dealing with a lot of big companies. Obviously, we put a big fence around the track and sell advertising boards. And our idea was to get a different company each month to sponsor a Cat 1. And we was dealing with like Land Rover, BMW, Mercedes, and getting some big sponsorship deals in. And obviously, we came into lockdown. So that's look. For this sort of place, it's easier to get sponsorship. Like a place like Henlow, it's difficult for us to get sponsors in to Henlow. But for Towcester, with these facilities and that, it's a lot easier for us to get sponsorship. And it's important that we get the sponsors in to put on some cracking Cat 1s. But for me, I'd love to see a Cat 1 here every month. I'll be all over that.
Are there any chances of there being hurdle racing there? There was a discussion on Twitter yesterday about the likes and dislikes of hurdle racing. Is that something you have in mind?
I suppose the problem I have with hurdle racing is there enough trainers out there to have competitive hurdles. Maybe there is. It's something I'll probably look at in time. I always thought to myself, no, I'm not going to have hurdle racing. But if there was the need for it and we had plenty of dogs to do it, then I'll do it. But I won't want to start doing hurdle racing and not having enough trainers who's got hurdlers, and at that point then it'll become competitive racing, does it? So if you had enough dogs doing hurdles, yeah, it's a good spectacle, but it's something I'll be thinking about and monitoring basically.
Excellent. Obviously, a very popular event in Australia, the Speed Star, basically just match racing over 3 different trips. match racing hasn't really taken off here or in Ireland particularly, but perhaps it's a way that we can appeal to football punters. It's just one-on-one. Generally, the best dog wins. You can almost have it as like a boxing style build up and weigh in, actually weigh the dogs in front of people, make it more theatrical. Our colleague at the Racing Post, Jim Cremin, said yesterday, we are in the entertainment business. What are your thoughts on match racing?
Yeah, no problem. I mean, I know Matt Wallace rang me up 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I know they want to do a match race on Tegan Flyer. And the dog who won St Edge last year, I think the name now, the Irish dog.
Reds are hard for.
That's it, yeah. So Matt was keen to ask me, could we stage a match race at Towcester? I said, I'd be delighted to. So I think they're putting up good money for it. I think £5,000 or whatever. So yeah, there will be a match race at Towcester hopefully very shortly. So it's exciting. So if you get the right sort of dogs in a match race, I'm all for it. So it has to be competitive, and obviously that'll be a great spectacle to see them two great dogs run around here over 7:10.
Yeah, I think that's the important thing, isn't it? You don't want them being completely mismatched.
Yeah.
De Rota's Wildcat versus King Turbo a couple of years ago would have been a match race for the ages if we'd been able to put it on somewhere. One of the questions we asked a lot of people on Twitter what they would like to ask you, and one that was talking about straight track racing. Now, we had the Greyhounds at the Cheltenham Festival for a few years. And of course, you've got, a two and a bit furlong straight up the hill at...
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, a lot of people have mentioned that to me. And I think, yeah, definitely at some stage we ought to do it because that'd be a cracking spectacle. Do some straight racing. And I think it'd be popular as well. So it's something, once we get back racing, it's something we'll be looking at. I don't see no reason why not. And obviously with the uphill climb, that would be a great to watch, some dogs going up the straight.
It'd certainly make for interesting betting and running, wouldn't it?
I'm very off, yeah. I wouldn't like to run up that straight, to be honest, yeah. It's quite a bit of a climb. I know Dave would fly up it. Dave's fit as a play, ain't he, Dave? So.
I'm all right. Yeah, it's improved during lockdown, actually, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still don't fancy it.
And as part of that, there was a question about potential sort of a European sight hound meeting. So you could have whippets, you could have Afghan racing. Everyone loves seeing the hair flying on them up the straight track. Make a weekend of it. You can get your glamping in. Is that something you would possibly consider?
Oh yeah, we was looking. Look, obviously before all this, we was obviously doing deals with Silverstone about. That's why I was keen to get glamping pods put up here and make it like a little village here, and even things like, imagine having a derby where you could house probably 500 people, 800 people on site. That would be fantastic, you know what I mean? And there's like even football tournaments. We was even looking at staging football tournaments there, only like 6 aside. But teams from all over the country can come stay here and have a weekend tournament. So that sort of thing with the hounds and Afghans, yeah, we can cater for all that stuff here. Because of the land and the spaces we've got here. But it'd be great to get the pods put up here and, make it a little mini village. Why not? So we've got a lot of plans and a lot of things going on behind the scenes. So, it would have been an exciting year. Things have changed a bit now, but we'll soon get back on track. And I'm always open to doing some things a little bit crazy. I don't mind. I think outside the box, best way to be in life.
Well, I hope you're going to. Aren't they going to swap ends in that football? I don't think I'll fancy kicking uphill.
Well, it'd be an angle day, wouldn't it? As long as you won the toss. Be right.
Oh yeah, not off.
Now we touched on Toaster TV earlier, potentially bringing it back at a later date. Would that include the filming of trials?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. I think if we got Toaster TV up and running, then it'd be no brainer. We'd film the trials. You know what I mean?
That was very popular. Very popular. The filming the trials with owners.
Yeah, no, I don't see a problem with that going forward. If we have, once Toast TV's up and live, it's only a case of getting a cameraman in, so we can do that, no problem.
Now, of course, welfare at Henlow is brilliant. What are your plans for Toaster in terms of welfare?
Same as Henlow. We look after the dogs well, and we don't scrimp on nothing. Anything for the welfare. I mean, you come look at these kennels we've got on site now. What's been converted from the stables. They're magnificent for these dogs to live at. And the same as the trainers on course at Henlow, and there was 140 dogs on course there. The kennels are fantastic. You go on Graham, Steve's or Jason's kennels on Henlow to a high standard. these dogs are really looked after well, and their living accommodation is second to none. Really is. And I'd always welcome anybody who can come on site at Towcester or Henlow, and I'll show them around the kennels, and they'll be gobsmacked on how these dogs are, how they live. It's top notch.
That's excellent. We had Mick Floyd on from Sandown Park in Australia last week, and he was saying about every dog in a race, there's a story behind them. Now, all too often we have 6 dogs go into the traps, run a race, then we're straight off the next track, and the bags grind the machine, just keeps going round and round. We don't learn an awful lot about the dogs. Now, where you've got a couple of trainers on track and the potential of Towcester TV, is there things that we could be doing almost like a behind the scenes documentary following some of the pups that, for instance, come into Frank Gray's kennel? We get to Puppo from Ireland. We can follow them trialing. We can follow them at home, going swimming, getting a massage, going trialing, going racing, just to show just how well these dogs are looked after. Get this welfare angle out on social media.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one thing we was actually doing, and Gail May, bless her, she was keen to do stuff with primary schools, and we was as well, to get kids up here and to educate kids how the dogs are trained. She was going to set them tasks of colouring pictures of dogs and this, that, and the other. And I think it's so important that we change people's mindset about ground racing. It's not bad about it. It is a great sport, and these dogs are well looked after. But we need to, learn the outside world, what happens inside the sport. So I think things like documentaries about dogs growing up as puppies and this, that, and the other, I think it's all important. I think it's great stuff, to be fair.
Lovely. It's certainly something that we'd be very interested in anyway, just all this sort of behind the scenes stuff. And as I said, welfare is so important. It is the most important thing in greyhound racing. And the more that we can do with social media to show how much we care about the dogs, the better.
Yeah.
Right, a few Twitter questions. Brian Kennedy from Ireland has asked, aside from winning classics, everybody in Ireland wants a Saturday Shelbourne dog. Can Towcester replicate that with a weekly open race card with good prize money? Now, you've touched on this. Is this going to be a Saturday night thing? Are they going to be slightly boosted opens, or are we going to be running for the same 175, 200?
No, I've already said to you, Matt, my intention is once we get going, we'll be having regular Cat 1s here, and then we'll stage on Saturdays. My commitment behind open racing is massive. So, when we get going, and once we can do open racing and we can get Joe Public in here, we'll be having great prize money on Saturday nights. Don't worry about that. That's one thing which we will be doing. So that's not talk. I'll actually do that. So there you go. And as regards, I look at this place now and think, yeah, it can be a Shelbourne Park, but why can't we do it better than Shelbourne Park? They do a great job, but why can't we match it and go one step higher? I don't see no reason why not. I'm passionate behind that. Yeah, but I'm passionate behind it, Dave. And what I say, normally I do. So I don't see a problem why we can't make it special here. We've got a lot of things to look forward to, which is so pleasing.
Fantastic. If you could see one thing implemented at all GBGP tracks that can be done without too much funding, what would it be and why?
That's a good question. Implementing. Got me thinking though, Matt.
What about a clock? A lot of people have said about a clock.
Yeah, good. Yeah, to be fair,
timing.
Yeah, that's one thing. And I need to speak to Gavin Smith about to get a clock in a Towcester. So yeah, that would be a good move there, Dave. Like that, Dave.
Obviously, you've got that big screen, but people like to see splits.
Yeah,
how hard dogs are running home.
You know what punters like. They like to see the splits. They like to see what time of the first race is. Think if it's fast or slow, don't they?
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think that's a great point. And yeah, to be fair, every track should have one of them. So yeah, totally agree. Well done, Dave. You answered the question for me. Yeah.
Back to you, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a couple more questions, Kev. Transport links is not great, public transport, which in a strange way is kind of a positive thing at the moment, because there's never been a reliance on public transport at Towcester with your unlimited parking and all that. So a lot of your trade and footfall is going to be local people. What feedback have you had? You mentioned that a couple of locals have put a dog with Frank Gray. Is everyone pleased that Towcester's reopening?
It's massive. To be fair, I mean, we've done a few things on Radio Northampton, this, that, and the other, and it's amazing that everybody knows Towcester Racecourse. I mean, a lot of questions always about when's the horse racing coming back, but a lot of them look coming here for the ground racing. So yeah, it's all positive stuff around here, to be fair. I think everybody's looking forward to when it opens.
It is a grand place. I mean, that grandstand you can see from afar, can't you?
Oh, it gets emotional. I always well up what I do when I'm driving here, and in the distance you can see it. So yeah, I know it's a great place, to be fair, Dave. And lots of unfortunates we're given the chance to hopefully put it into a good position.
Right, and a couple of other things. Obviously, Towcester beforehand, free admission, didn't have to pay to get in. Is that going to be something you explore? Will you be charging people to come in? If you're an owner, will you get any sort of concession?
Oh, look, we're a business, end of the day, and as a business, we'd have to charge people to come in. Owners would definitely get free passes, and we'll look after the owners who's putting good money back into the sport by buying dogs. But for a business, proposition, you've got to charge people to come in. We can do it all free, but then we're closing 6 months. What do you want? Do you know what I mean? We can't. We're a business. We have staff to pay. We've got trainers to pay. We have electric and everything else to pay. So, yeah, we've got to charge. It's a no-brainer, to be fair. At that point, you don't charge, and you're open to, just go bust. And I'm not prepared to do that. So we'll definitely be charging. But
are you thinking, concessions at a owner-trainer marquee like there was before?
Oh, yeah, we'll be doing something nice. I mean, and also got great facilities there. So, I ain't being funny. It's not a lot of money. We're looking at charging a tenner to come in on a Saturday night. That's not a lot of money these days, 10 quid in one aspect, to what you're paying to go to other places. So I don't know what it costs to go to a cinema, but a tenner, what's a tenner these days? Nothing, is it? So you'd pay Dave, wouldn't you?
Well, I think if you're going to go to a place like Towcester and make the effort to go there, you're not going to then go home because someone's asked you to pay £10 to get in.
Exactly. No. And we'll have good entertainment on here. Like I say, the bars are nice, the food will be nice, everything will be done pucker to a good standard. So a tenner's just a contribution in my eyes. So yeah.
Right, and the final question I have for you is that you mentioned Friday and Saturday nights. Obviously, you're somewhat going to be dictated by SIS in their schedule, but when does Kevin Boothby want to race at Towcester? Is it Friday and Saturday night? That's, the big nights of the week, the big going out nights?
Look, in the ideal world, if you gave me meetings, I'd always go for a Friday, Saturday night, and even the Sunday afternoon. That'd be the free perfect, this place, Sunday afternoon, you can put little mini fairs on, do different things for the kids and make it a big family day on Sunday afternoon. So, yeah, Friday, Saturday night, Sunday, yeah, job done. If I got them day, I'd be happy, man.
Yeah, I'm sure you would be. And just to wrap things up then, Kev, it's a tricky question, but I'm sure you're up to it. Going forward, what can we expect Towcester to be under Kevin Boothby's stewardship?
I think a very well-run business as regards to the racing side of things. Very competitive racing, but top-notch racing. And the things which I've told you today, we will do. So, as regards to good competition, we'll get all that in place, and hopefully one day, ultimately, we'll have the ground derby here, which will be exciting. But watch this space.
We're aiming high.
Oh, we've got to aim high. Why? We're not going to mess about here. I mean, that's why it's important. We get Night of Stars on. So, and I'm still confident that will be staged in October of this year. So I look forward to seeing you here then, Dave.
Absolutely, you will do. And listen, Kev, we really appreciate your time, your honesty as well, and your positivity, because it's hard times. But this is a shining light in the sport of greyhound racing, and a real positive story. And we thank you for your time and your input today.
Lovely. Well, I better get back sunbathing, Dave, haven't I?
I'm sure you will do. Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kev.
Okay,
really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All the best.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, bye.